One of the very important things that's often overlooked when you're working in a studio all day, either doing voiceover stuff or music or whatever, is taking breaks. You absolutely need to take breaks. Breaks allow you a little bit of mental clarity on what you're doing, and almost like sometimes some fresh ears and thus a fresh perspective on what you're recording, especially if you're not sure if what you're doing is working or something along those lines. We're fortunate enough to have Dave Schiffman mix one of our records. Schiffman's probably the greatest engineer that I've ever been around, and I heard a lot of stories from friends who had recorded with him, and they talk about his strict regimen, where it's basically an 8-hour day, and you're going to have a break for lunch, and you're going to have a break, a 15-minute break every like 2 hours or so. So it's almost like a normal like corporate job where you get in, you work for a couple hours, you take a 15-minute break, you work for a couple hours, you take a lunch, you work for a couple hours, you take another 15-minute break. And it's to protect the hearing. And doing that is really, really important. There have absolutely been records that I went into a studio and spent 15 hours every day working on. Like when we did the self-titled Wanda's record that we recorded at MixArt in Montreal, those days were long. We were basically living in the studio, sleeping on blow-up mattresses, and it was over Christmas and New Year's, so it's not like we were going out doing anything. And MixArt isn't, well, at least it was when we were recording, it really wasn't in a great neighborhood, so there wasn't a ton of stuff going on, so we were and it was freezing. I remember it being so cold that you had to start your car up every single day or it wouldn't start. You had to start it up and let it run for like 30 minutes or an hour or something just to get it to heat up. And that's really difficult too, because when you're in your studio, like a studio like that all day, nothing going on but nothing but your bandmates, that's all you really want to do. And I remember we had like a week or a week and a half up there, and we tracked the whole album in like 4 days. We were doing live takes and just banged it all out real quick. And then we spent like a week or so, or whatever remaining time was left, doing like, I don't know, farting on a snare drum, trying different microphones. I say that jokingly, but we really experimented quite a bit with overdubs and things like that. And that was kind of cool. It takes a lot of the pressure off, because we knew at that point the record was going to be good. But even voiceover stuff, if you're doing like an hour of recorded audio, it takes a while to get that good and get that done and get that the way that you want it. And once again, just like I've done with music, I'm very guilty of, taking a giant coffee or an energy drink or something and really just going in there and trying to crack it out. I would probably cap myself at like 3 hours and in a row, and then I would get out, and you gotta take a break. And what I do is I come out here and I walk the dog, especially in the cold New England weather. Get out for a little bit, get a little sun, and stop staring at a screen and get into a different headspace. Experience the world a little bit again. Really, really, really important. I've even found that when I was in the corporate world, and you'd be hopping from meeting to meeting and meeting to, all day long, crazy, stressful scenarios and situations. I didn't need an hour lunch. What I needed was 15 minutes to go outside and kind of walk around the campus. Look at something else. Think of something else. Be somewhere else. And then it just unlocks a whole other level of potential, because Now you're coming back in super ready, and you killed it, because that's the thing. How much performance can you get out of someone, and what do you need to do to get that sort of performance? And so you got to make sure it's sustainable. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. So with that, Brent Batty here.